All right, today we're going to disassemble and clean a KelTec PF-9 magazine. So after you're done cleaning your firearm, especially if you've dropped your magazine in the gravel or the dirt at the range, we're going to want to open it up, take all the pieces out, and clean it up on the inside to make sure it's not going to fail on you when you need it most. All right, before you take the magazine apart, make sure you have eye protection. There are springs in here, and if you're pointing it at your face at the wrong time, you might get a spring in the eye. So it's pretty easy to open these magazines. You want to hold it like this. You want to get some kind of a pin punch or a small screwdriver or just something that can push this button in at the bottom. So you see the button goes in. So while you're holding that button in, start sliding the base of the magazine in that direction. All right, and then put your thumb over top because there's a spring waiting to pop out. So put your thumb over top and pull the base all the way to the front, all the way off. And then when you release your thumb, you're going to see the base piece here and the spring come on out of the magazine like that. And then your follower will drop out as well. So this is the follower. So now you have all your pieces outside of the magazine. All you want to do is get some cotton rags and just kind of wipe them down. We don't want to use oil on these. If they're really bad, you could use a little bit of solvent on there to clean them up, or just even some soap and water, and then let them dry really well. So the follower is probably going to be the dirtiest piece. So just wipe that down real good. Super simple procedure. If it's really dirty, just get a cotton swab and a little bit of solvent and just clean them up. Clean up all the surfaces real good. All right, and then wipe it off real good when you're done. And for the spring, you just get a little bit of solvent on a rag. Just kind of wipe the spring down, and you can just run the whole spring through the rag, and you'll see it'll get all the dirt all the way up and down the spring. Then just go all the way up the spring, and then wipe off this piece here if it needs it. All right, and then get a dry cloth and wipe it all down. Then do the same thing with the spring. Just run the spring all the way up your dry cloth. Get all the solvent off of there and all the rest of the dirt. It's going to be real easy to do. Just make sure you get all that solvent wiped off of there. All right, set that aside now. Very important that you clean the inside of the magazine tube. So there's a couple ways to do that. You could just take a couple of rags and kind of carefully force them through with a screwdriver. You don't want to scratch the inside of the tube. All right, you can run them through a few times, see if that does the job. All right, if that doesn't work, these long cotton swabs come in handy for just this kind of a thing. Get a little solvent on there and just kind of clean the inside. You especially want to get up underneath these feed lips, because that's where it gets the dirtiest, because that's real close to where the rounds are being fired. So right around the top edge here is where most of that dirt's going to be. All right, and then dry it off with a clean cotton swab. And after it's pretty clean, take another rag, push it through a couple of times. That'll help dry it up on the inside there. Now we have that pretty clean. And the other place to make sure it's clean is right along these little ridges here where the base plate goes on. Dirt can accumulate there. Dry that off. So now we just want to put it back together. So if you hold it like this, the follower goes in like that. You can just drop that in. It should come up to the top. All right, and then your spring is going to go in next. So just push the spring in like that. It'll push the follower up to the top. All right, hold this down, and then you're going to want to put your thumb on top here and make sure the follower is down inside just a little bit so it's not in the way of putting the base plate on. All right, so kind of hold it together like that, and then hold your base plate like this and line up the little slots here with these metal ridges. Once you get it started, you can remove your thumb. Well, you can partially remove your thumb. Just make sure it stays in there. You're going to want to push this down far enough for this to go over it like that. Just make sure your slots are lined up real good like that. And your insert piece is sitting in the bottom there. All right, and then push the bottom on. When you get to here, if that button doesn't pop up like it didn't there, you might have to just kind of jiggle it around a little bit in there until that pops up. All right, and it should be flush with the bottom like that. You shouldn't be able to pull the base plate off. Now that you have it back together, it's a good idea to test it. You can always go to the range to test it, but if you want to test it right now, get yourself some 9mm snap caps or dummy rounds. These are just fake ammunition that are designed to test firearms when you're not able to fire them. So what you want to do here to test your magazine, put a few dummy rounds into the magazine, then get your PF9, make sure it is unloaded and there's no live ammunition around. Insert a magazine with dummy rounds in it, close the slide, Make sure you've loaded a dummy round. And then now all you need to do is briskly rack the slide to simulate shooting, and your dummy round should be extracted and ejected from the gun if everything's working well. So just grab the rear of the slide, and your slide should lock back after the last round has been ejected. Alright, so that tests not only your firearm, but that tests your magazine to make sure you put it together properly and it's feeding properly. Alright, if you like this video, please hit like below. Check out the description below for links to snap caps if you need them. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.